Welcome back, friends. Today we are diving into something absolutely fascinating that you won't want to miss. No fluff, no waiting, let's get straight into the topic.
What if the smartest engineers alive today are just finishing what ancient gods started? What if the robots, the language models, the thinking machines we're building right now were described thousands of years ago in myths, in scriptures, in texts that most people dismiss as fairy tales?
I know that sounds insane, but stay with me because by the end of this video, you will never look at ancient history the same way again.
Let's start in ancient Greece, because the Greeks weren't just writing poetry, they were engineering the future in their minds. Meet Talos, a giant bronze humanoid forged by the god Hephaestus, the divine blacksmith of Olympus. Talos was programmed, and yes, I'm using that word deliberately, to patrol the island of Crete, scan for threats, and destroy any invader who dared approach. He ran on an internal fluid that flowed through a single vein from his neck to his heel, mimicking blood, mimicking life. Tell me that doesn't sound like a hydraulic robot with a liquid cooling system and a single point of failure? But Hephaestus didn't stop there. He also built the Golden Maidens, mechanical attendants described in Homer's Iliad as possessing wit, speech, and knowledge. Not tools, not statues. Assistants, thinking assistants. Sound familiar? And then there's Pandora, often called the first woman, but modern scholars are looking at her differently now. She was constructed in a workshop, given specific traits by specific gods, and released into the world to carry out a function that would alter human civilization forever.
That's not mythology, that's a deployment.
Now let's go east, because the Greeks weren't the only ones dreaming about thinking machines. The Mahabharata, one of the longest and most ancient epics ever written, describes target-seeking arrows and automated chariots that needed no human hand to guide them. Algorithmic targeting, autonomous navigation, written down before the wheel was even standardized in most of the ancient world. But the wildest one? China. Around the first millennium BCE, a Taoist text called the Lizi tells the story of a mechanical engineer named Yan Shi who walked up to King Mu of Zhou and presented him with a life-sized humanoid, a robot that could sing, dance, and even wink at the king's concubines. The king was furious, thinking it was a real person. Yan Shi had to disassemble it in front of the court, piece by piece, to prove it was mechanical. Leather, wood, lacquer, paint, artificial eyes, artificial joints, artificial voice. That story is 4,000 years old. Now this is where it gets genuinely profound, and I want you to think critically here, not religiously. We're doing analysis, not theology. The book of Revelation, chapter 13, describes an image of the beast that is given breath so that it can speak. And through that speech it controls, it deceives, it influences the entire world. In 2025, we have AI avatars that look indistinguishable from real humans. We have deepfakes, we have synthetic voices, we have systems that can generate mass persuasion content at a scale no human army could match. An image given breath that speaks to the world, written 2,000 years ago. Then look at Daniel 12:4 verse, a single line that says, "Knowledge shall increase," not grow, not improve, increase, as in exponential, as in Moore's law, as in the doubling curve of computing power that is currently outpacing every projection we've ever made. And then there's the Golem, the great legend of Jewish folklore, a humanoid creature animated from clay, brought to life not by a spark of divine fire, but by specific sacred words. A precise sequence of language inscribed on its forehead. Remove one letter, it dies. Change the command, it turns on its creator. Scholars today are calling the Golem the first AI alignment debate in recorded history, because the entire legend isn't about can we build it, it's about can we control what we build. Sound familiar? Here's the pivot that most people miss. Around the first millennium BCE, simultaneously across Greece, India, and China, something extraordinary happened. Thinkers stopped calling artificial life magic. They started asking whether the human mind itself could be broken down into rules. Could thought be codified? Could reasoning be expressed as a system? Could intelligence, the most sacred thing in the universe, be replicated? That question, asked in ancient Athens, ancient Pataliputra, ancient Luwei, is the exact same question that gave us machine learning, neural networks, and large language models today. The math changed, the question never did. So here's where I land. These ancient civilizations didn't have circuit boards or GPUs, but they had imagination, and more than that, they had intuition about where human ambition leads. Every culture, independently, arrived at the same place: the dream of created minds, the fear of created minds, and the desperate search for a way to control what we make before it controls us. We're not building AI for the first time. We're just the first generation with the tools to actually finish the job. The ancients saw it coming. The only question now is, did they also see how it ends?
Now I want to hear from you. What are your honest thoughts on today's topic? Drop a comment down below. I want to know what you think.